Hold on. Let me take a sip.
It's Friday.
Friday.
Yes.
We made it.
It's been a long week. It really has,
It's been
though.
a really long week.
Yeah.
Do you have any fun plans? Oh, yeah, you're going to the opera.
I'm going to the opera house.
That's so exciting.
I have a dress. I don't really love it. I'm not invested.
I hate
And
when
I
that
want to look
happens.
cute.
I don't know how to help you at the 11th hour.
I don't know. It's going to be a tight squeeze. So we're all fitting into my very tiny car. And my daughter was like, "Oh, Mackenzie, are you going early?" I'm like, "No, Mackenzie's coming with us. We're not taking 2 cars to New York."
Yeah.
First off, nobody even wants to bring a car to New York.
Crazy.
It's not a place you want to bring a car.
True.
Second of all, there's no way I want to drive an SUV in there. So we're taking the little car, and
You should really stop talking because I think I have to drive to New York. So and I already have driving anxiety.
Oh, it's know what though? I don't mind it. It's only 3.5, 4 hours. It's not a big deal. I'm like, we're gonna go late tonight. So
yeah,
it's like just take a nap and we'll be there.
You're just stressing me out because I got to do the driving. So I think I'm gonna work.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. There's I'm gonna go work on Long Island for a couple of days. I've been asked to go to one of the stores out there.
That's a whole nother planet.
And then obviously I have some friends that are in the city. So I'm like, if I can arrange it, I'll just pop into the city afterwards and hang out with them. Cause I'm getting yelled at by my best friend because I have never visited him in New York City and he's been there forever. So he's like, I swear to God, you need to come out here. So I'm like, I'll just pop in afterwards. But then the operational parts of that, me realizing like I am volunteering to drive my Jeep into New York City and figure out how to park it and like whatever.
You'll be all right. It's just garages and they end up taking it and valeting it anyway. So you just got to get to a garage and be accepting of the fact they're going to pay $50 to $100 a day.
So I just have to recognize that I'm going to spend a ton of money just to park it.
Yes.
Maybe he'll buy dinner. We'll see.
That's exactly it. I'm thankful that I'm going to visit with my brother because he Mr. Moneybags over there, single income.
Love
and
that.
These are your nieces. It's Mother's Day. Buy me stuff.
We're in New York City. Yeah.
I have high expectations, brother of mine.
I will say my best friends don't know that I'm coming. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. Like I know. Andrew knows I'm coming, but I figured.
And there's just so much in the city. I love it. I just get so excited for the foods and the people.
I hate it.
I love
hate
it.
New York City.
So many choices.
I hate it. There's too many people. It's too congested. You can't get anywhere. You can't do anything. It costs an exorbitant amount of money to do everything.
Yeah, but the food is good.
I know.
I can put up with anything if the food is good and the coffee is good. And there's so many choices.
But it's still really, really expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and then I have to justify. I just have a hard time with the value of stuff like spending that amount of money on something that is temporary. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was actually just talking about this in terms of trips with my dad. We were talking about it last night. So I really want to go to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about
you don't really want to go to Egypt right now though.
Well, correct. But it's like on my list of places. I have like top 3 or 4 or 5 places that I really want to go, and Egypt is one of them. And we were talking about the cost. We found this like cool riverboat trip that goes through the Nile.
Fun.
And I was saying, this looks awesome and looks like a really approachable way to do it because we would never be able to go to Egypt without like a bodyguard or, like security. Like, especially me, like we just can't go. Right. So this seems a little bit more approachable, but it's expensive, right?
Yeah.
Like the baseline is like 10 grand a person. And so we were talking about the value of trips in this capacity. And then I was saying, to go to Sandals for a week is 8 to 10 grand.
Depending on, how you
go. Per person,
mm-hmm.
right? Maybe less.
Probably
maybe
like 3. It's 3.
That still feels like a...
It is a lot. It is a lot.
Maybe. Okay. So
but I did Europe with my whole family for 10 grand.
So
we were there for 3 weeks.
Correct. So this is what I was saying.
My entire family.
And this is what I was saying with my dad was like, and then we were talking about the huts on the Bora Bora that stay on the water.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the cost of them, right? And like the value of that trip. You can spend 15 grand to stay in this little room on the water, which would be great.
Yeah.
You stay there for a week, $2,500 a night, whatever it is. And you're still like next to somebody else. You're still doing something like everybody else can do.
Yeah.
It's still disposable income in some capacity, but like you spend all this time to get there and then you sit in a chair.
Yeah.
And I was saying for 10 grand, I would way rather do something like the Nile. Like I would way rather go to Egypt and spend the money to do that as opposed to spend 10 grand to like go to Bermuda.
Right.
And it's this like, we were just talking about that value set. And I have the same thing with food.
I agree.
Same thing with food though. Like food is not, believe me, big snacks, all about it. But like, it's almost not worth it to me to spend exorbitant amount of money on dinner when I could go spend that amount of money to like have an experience. Like a Broadway play, I'll remember.
Yeah.
Steak, I won't remember.
See, and I'm like, give me the dim sum. I'm not looking for pricey meals in the city.
But it's
I'm like,
expensive.
for me, it's like the regional cuisine. It's like stuff that I don't normally have, like the different kind, like Cambodian food that's good, or Vietnamese pho that's good, like stuff that we don't have, and the spices and like the whole thing. And most of it's not really that expensive.
Okay, that's fair.
And you can get that anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my favorite thing. I was eating Portuguese food in Edinburgh just because it was available, and it was like $25, and I was happy as a clam.
Yeah,
because they're just closer to other cultures.
Yeah, maybe it's. I didn't even think of that. My family, we don't, and me, like, don't do a lot of international
ethnic food.
We just don't.
So if you're not into like
so
other
it's not that
kinds of,
not like you would never catch me like eating something off a stick from a truck in New York City. Like
well,
that.
I would.
Yeah, would not.
I'll probably end up with dysentery, but I would.
My brother and I, last time we were in New York City, we were I forget where we were. We were in this little park, and
Bring
they had
the halal trucks.
My brother and I ordered bao buns,
Yeah.
pork belly.
Yeah.
Like it's like nothing abnormal. My dad like didn't understand it in his brain. He was like, I don't understand. What is that? You're gonna eat that? It looks like no interest in.
Oh, see, I'm definitely,
and it was something really simple. So, but yet here he is saying we're gonna go to Egypt. I'm like, you're not gonna be able to eat in Egypt,
right?
That's fine.
You're gonna have rice, and you're gonna eat it with your hands and be worried about that also.
Totally. At least if we go to Bora Bora for 15 grand, somebody will bring him
eat
chicken
a pineapple.
nuggets on a platter.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go cut a coconut down. You'll be fine.
But either way, if I have 10 grand to spare, I'm a totally riverboat cruise through Egypt. It would be cool.
Absolutely. A little riverboat gambling.
But then I think about like I took myself to London and Paris and spent like
not that much, probably.
No, like $1,800 for the week.
Yeah.
Went to California to ski, 5 days to ski. And mind you, it was a group trip, but like flights, transportation,
that's
hotel room. I did not spend $6 grand. I spent like 2.
Oh, that's not bad.
For lift tickets, housing, flights, and transportation.
See, for me, it's like that's what pisses me off is you're spending $500 to fly to California, or you can spend $500 to go to anywhere in Europe.
We just talked about this. My flights to
so annoying.
My flights to London in December were $550. Now, mind you, I had a flight credit, so I went for $50, which was great. My flights to Utah in March, $1,200.
It's obnoxious.
I could not fathom.
It should not. Like you can drive there. Like it shouldn't be that costly.
It's insane.
Yes, it is.
So mostly I'm just trying to make friends with the pilot.
Valuation and find a hot pilot. So let me know how that goes.
You know what? We're actually not that.
Somebody with a private plane, please. Thank you.
Oh, actually, I have friends with both of them. Yeah, I'm not utilizing my resources very well right
now. Let's go. Damn it, Tori.
All right. Should we get into what's roasted?
Yes, please.
You want to talk about this Tom Hanks thing?
I do. I loved it. Because Tom Hanks is known as the Cinderella story of being an actor. He's kind, he's likable, he's approachable. If you ask somebody, who do you think is the nicest person in Hollywood, they're probably going to answer Tom Hanks.
Really?
Yeah.
Would he?
I think so. I mean, obviously, he wouldn't say that. He said, in fact, the opposite to the BBC.
Yeah, I thought this was great.
That's why I liked it. So, I mean, he said that he does indulge in rude behavior, which makes me like him even more.
I know. I have pulled every single one of those moments of behavior myself on set. Not everybody is at their best every single day on a motion picture set. I've had tough days trying to be professional when my life has been falling apart in more ways than one. And the requirement for me that day is to be funny, charming, and loving. And it's the last way that I feel. Awesome. Class act.
Son. That's why. Chet Hanks. He's a disaster.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the other one, Colin's the good one.
I didn't even know Tom Hanks had sons.
Yes, he does.
I mean, I just assume he had kids.
Colin's an actor, and you've definitely seen him in things. He's been in a lot of things.
I have a pop culture podcast, Tori, and not know anything about pop culture. This is pretty standard.
But his son, Chet Hanks, says dumb shit is in the media all the time doing dumb things. It's like one of his sons is Joe Dirt, and the other one is
that's funny.
Like the good one, the prodigal son.
Listen, there's
it's just really funny.
There's one of those in every family, but
right.
I'm not going to call out my siblings here.
But I love the fact that he kind of addressed it without addressing it. You know what I mean? Like there are days on set where I'm like, oh my God, please, why did the Lord give us that child? I have to deal with this right now.
Yeah.
And so he said that he pulled from all of those experiences because he was writing a book. Is there nothing you can't do, Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
and it's not a memoir. Like, that's what I like. Nobody wants to hear about your memoirs of what a nice
the
life
making
you've
of
lived.
another major motion picture masterpiece.
Which I'm kind of in for
Quite
it.
a title.
Well, especially since he's drawing on all of his experiences in Hollywood and all of the bad behaviors that he's seen.
Yeah.
And not only exhibited himself, and now he's
Yeah.
making some sort of fictional play with this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really good book.
Not to divert, but I'm thinking of it. Did you see the comment out about the ghostwriter for Prince Harry's book?
No.
The ghostwriter came out and said something along the lines of, there was one time we were talking on Zoom and Harry got angry with me and we had a fight over it because it was something about his military past he was not talking about and I wanted to put in the book. But I thought it was super interesting because you just openly admitted that Harry didn't write the book.
Right.
And
Did you think that Harry wrote that book?
No, but it's different when it's like openly in your face. Now it just feels even more like a money grab than we thought it was before.
I don't know if, I mean, I think that if I were to and be in that position, let the professionals do what the professionals do, which is write the book. Here's all the information. Put that together for me. That's really what it was.
Yeah, but it sounds...
It's like your TA. Yeah,
but
correct all these. I'm still the professor.
I don't know. It sounds to me like they sat on Zoom meetings and Harry talked about his life and then somebody wrote it.
Yeah.
But like...
You want credit for being an author?
But the way that they marketed it was that Harry wrote the book, which is not true. Right? So why wouldn't you just open up and say, there's somebody wrote this book about Harry's life who spoke about it? Like that, like it's an in-depth memoir of his life as opposed to being like, this is Harry's novel. Like, well, but it's not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it felt like the marketing of it feels completely disjointed to what the book actually was, which is why I was surprised that a ghostwriter, which everybody's entitled to have, came out and said openly, like, I wrote the book and here's what we fought about. Like, well, you're supposed to be a ghostwriter. The point of view is that you are literally invisible.
Yeah.
That we think that you didn't write the book. We have no idea that you exist. And now you're going to the media and saying, we had Zoom meetings. Like,
so,
well,
it's funny that, and now I'm drawing a parallel right now because there was a word that came out this week when people were talking about the TV show Succession. And this, it just like this sort of what you're supposed to follow. Yeah. That's kind of what the TV show loosely follows, but they call it quiet luxury. Oh. And I thought, okay, this is one of those quiet luxuries of having so much freaking money, having so much ability to have this space.
Listen, I'm going to say I don't think they have a lot of money, that much money, if they're doing Oprah specials, Netflix specials, and memoirs that they're not even writing. It sounds like to me like they're trying to get money.
No, they're trying to not use that cultural money because they have a problem with it. At the end of the day, they have it if they need it. It's not like he's ever going to go without. It's never going to happen. Yeah. It's just not how it is. I mean, that's a whole nother land of money. That is countries and blood fought money from years past.
Going back to Tom Hanks, do we think Tom Hanks is writing the book or do we think a ghostwriter's writing the book?
I think he's doing it, but it's also quiet luxury. We'll never know if it's real or not.
This goes back to my point though. You're not supposed to know. Why would the ghostwriter come out and make comments? You're not supposed to exist.
We're not supposed to know. We don't want to see how the sausage is made.
Correct.
Stop showing us.
Anyway, getting really heated about it.
So that's why I wanted to talk about this book just a little bit because I knew we would have this conversation about it. But also, is there nothing you can't do, man?
Well, I don't know. It depends on whether he actually wrote the book or not. Because if he didn't write the book, then sure, you can sit in a couple Zoom meetings and talk about what it's like to make a movie.
We want to know.
I can do that. I can bullshit it enough to about making movies to make a book. Why not?
Just like this Chrissy Teigen story. I'm not a fan of Chrissy Teigen. I don't like her. I really don't, but I actually felt for her.
I cannot believe that the internet pushed her so far where she released a photo like, first of all, to take a photo like that. Girl, you've had enough. Now you've like been around the rodeo a couple times with having kids that you feel comfortable enough to take a photo like this. But then for the internet to push you so far where you're releasing it and not like saving it for your own personal archives.
The story goes like this. One of her many, many trolls, because she invites many, many trolls into her life.
Well, she's kind of annoying.
Because she's very, very annoying. But I did feel as we're approaching Mother's Day, the mom shaming in our culture is absolutely disgusting. And someone went so far as to say that she did not have her baby and that she was originally a man and this was a moon baby bump And like it just like all kinds of for her to be bearing her C-section scar and showing actual footage of her birthing this baby kind of grossed me out to the point that that's how far you felt you needed to go
for
to
something that was so irrelevant.
Dumb.
But also at the same time, like, really, internet? Can you why now are we going after a woman that had to like openly struggled with having another baby that she wanted, went through several treatments, had a miscarriage she was public about, then went through IVF, the whole thing, has her baby, has it by C-section.
She lets it all hang out,
miserable.
literally. Like we know everything about her, stuff we don't even care.
But then
it's all out there.
Go through a C-section, which is miserable, and then you're gonna come after her about it. Like, just let it go. Like, if you think she's annoying, we all do. We all agree with you. But like, why are you being like this?
The best part though, that person was like, and I'm a fan. And I'm like, what?
But where you think she's secretly a man.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's such dumb shit that it's upsetting for me that somebody felt that they had to actually go and show proof and evidence to prove themselves.
But it's both ways. Like, shame on you, internet, for pushing this woman to feeling like she needs to post a picture of her in the middle of her C-section having her child. Like, screw you for that.
Yeah.
And then, Chrissy Teigen, what is wrong with you where you feel like you needed to respond to somebody calling you a man?
I know.
Of all the things. Like, the amount of things that people have said about you, at least respond to something that has some merit.
That's the one. Okay.
Right.
It really is foolish. It is. And I'm sad that we live in this space on socials. I feel I'm sad for us as a society.
Nothing else to say
this is our validation. Exactly. So that's how I feel about her anyway. I just wanted to make mention. All right. I sided with you on this one, Chrissy.
I know.
Painful as it was, I did want to address it.
Yes.
And also I wanted to address the Selena Gomez situation. Now, famous Spanish radio host, father of Francia, who used to be her best friend, and
gave her her liver.
Yes.
Right. So I guess the dad was on his show and came out and started speaking about why they're no longer friends.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think in Spain he really had any idea what he was saying that would blow up American media?
Probably because, I mean, it's kind of a big deal. He definitely was, I mean, first off, being a radio host, you want anybody to notice you. You do.
But like, of all the things he could say, he just waited till a quiet moment to drop this little bomb.
Yeah. And it bothered me a lot. I like the fact that Selena is separating herself from this because it's...
Yeah, and didn't respond.
No, I mean, Selena has been struggling with so many things. Yeah. And all the stuff that we were just talking about with the Chrissy Teigen stuff, Selena's trying to do it the opposite way. Like, just like, here's the work that I'm working on. Are you interested in the work that I'm working on?
Well,
not
finally,
the bullshit behind it.
Well, yeah, she's had some back and forth moments though, where she's fueled the fire and not fueled the fire, and said some things and not said some things.
She's also young.
Commented and whatever. Yeah. And I also think too, she's probably got like a lapse in
no one gives
stability.
You the manual of like, here's all of crazy bullshit that's happening on all
and then try and deal with that with a plethora of physical and mental health issues.
Good luck navigating that with all of the issues that you personally have. Good luck to you.
Yeah, kind of brutal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I guess it was interesting because
during the interview, he was asked why his daughter wasn't included in her highly anticipated documentary. And he told the outlet there was no secret what happened between them, and added, just when it happens with love and money and fame. And he explained that Selena and Francia had a disagreement when
Gomez was drinking.
Yeah.
So Francia gave her kidney,
mm-hmm.
and then she went out and was partying afterwards. And I think apparently it came out that like Francia was like, well, I didn't give you my kidney so that you could go and destroy another one with alcohol.
Yeah.
Which, fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also at the same time, like, is that an indicator of problems, like drinking problems? Probably. So what do you do as a friend?
I know.
You separate yourself and you say, I can't, we are very close. I can't help you. You need to go help yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Makes sense why Francia would be upset and be frustrated by it, especially because she's like, I gave you a literal part of me.
Yep.
But I also think too, like, have a little grace for Selena, who clearly struggles with
there's so many things going on, and she is being just constantly bombarded with what she should do.
And I don't think that she probably has a good relationship. Maybe I just think a huge possibility that maybe she doesn't have a good relationship with alcohol, with all that, because I don't think you get a new kidney after dealing with lupus, right?
Yeah,
and get a new kidney and then like logically understand that it's a good thing to drink.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you probably are struggling with an alcohol issue if you're
I don't even know
making
if
the
it's an
choice.
alcohol issue, or maybe it's just kind of like, I wanted to experience this in my life. Maybe she didn't have an issue with alcohol whatsoever. Maybe she just wanted to feel normal.
She wasn't drinking before, and then she started drinking with a new kidney. Maybe,
Yeah,
I didn't
or
think of that.
maybe she went out for a drink. We
Yeah.
don't know how bad it was,
Yeah, that's
sitting there
true.
with having a cocktail. Like, you want to just, I'm having a normal, like, where,
Yeah.
yay, put an
And
umbrella in
Francia
my
was
drink.
like, "You can't have anything."
Right.
Yeah,
So it's
maybe.
not like you're not the judge anymore. This is mine now.
Yeah.
You gave it to me. Thank you. I mean, if she was out there on binders getting knocked around and in Vegas boozing it up and
Yeah.
standing on bars.
Well, we don't know, right? Like, the comments came out from the dad, who maybe he
Right.
doesn't even know.
Right.
Like, he knows, he has an idea because he's got a relationship with his daughter, but, like, I don't tell my dad the complete ins and outs of every fight that I've had with a friend.
Exactly. And we just don't know the gravity. We don't know
Yeah.
how much of this is because her feelings were hurt and this is, she said something and then she didn't like the way she said it. Look, girlfriends break up all the time. It happens. You go a different space in your life. Granted, this has a lot more weight because you gave them an organ.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even begin to know what that relationship
crazy.
would be like.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that you would be caring for, I didn't do this for you to piss it away.
Yeah.
But also I understand just trying to be normal.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm trying to live my life here.
I don't think we'll get any more information.
And if I'm going to have a glass of wine at a family party and you're going to tell me, oh my God, you can't do that.
Yeah, we
Fuck
don't
off.
But we don't really know which way it goes. Like, we
Right.
can only make opinions on the potential sides of this. We don't have enough information to know.
So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I was just curious, like, what is going to happen next.
Yeah, what information?
If she even addresses it at all, or if she's right now in her cocoon phase where she's
and also
rebuffing other people.
And also Francia came out and had a couple of things where she said recently too, she's just been in the news, said recently, like, something along the lines like, I wish people would stop commenting on my friendship. Like, I wish people would stop making it a thing.
But she keeps out there making comments and having her dad make comments. So it sounds like she wants to be noticed. Like, I gave you an organ. I thought I was going to be in all of the things forever.
Yeah, like, I thought I was going to get some payout from this.
Where's my crown? Where's my scepter?
Yeah, maybe that's why they're not friends anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
Speaking of crown and scepter, the picture of Camilla and King Charles, brain, came out, and the picture of, like, their official portrait of them together. And one of my favorite comments about it was, like, it looks like an advertisement for Party City costume. If you
We're dressing up as king and queen today. It is so
I had
awkward,
no idea
right?
I had no idea that they dropped the consort part. Like, Queenie just died, and then King Charles was like, well, she's dead, so we're just going to call you Queen now, as opposed to Queen Consort.
Yes. And the photos, it's not regal. It's not majestic.
Nobody cares. Like, it's such like an ego. Oh, and they did a commercial with American Idol. Did anybody else? I was like, what is happening in the world?
They showed up on American Idol. Like, but hey, guys. They don't like us in our own country, so look at us. We're king and queen in your country.
It felt random and unnecessary and, like, very unlike the monarchy and very unlike Charles. And I just want to know which PR team thought that was a good idea.
I immediately likened it to that scene in Hamilton with King George.
Yeah. So true.
I was just like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because you're a brat. Got it.
Which makes sense. I wondered why Lionel Richie was at the coronation, and you're like,
because they couldn't get anybody to entertain, and they probably made a deal with American Idol.
Yeah, it'd have Katy Perry. Her dress was great, though.
But it was Lionel Richie and Katy Perry.
Oh, I didn't realize.
That's why they took a day off of filming for American Idol.
Lionel Richie, do you think at the wedding, his daughter's wedding, he was like, sorry, we just got to get this over with because I got to go to the coronation real quick.
Yeah, right?
She looked great. Anyway, the bride, Sophia, looked
awesome.
Disgustingly perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's just, it felt very contrived to me, and they look
ridiculous. And again, like, nobody, like, your grandkids stole the show. Nobody really cares about you. Well, we don't need to get into this again.
I know. Honestly, that's where it was. The grandkids once again stole the show.
Which is
it's the next royal family. It's almost like, yeah, we're putting up with this. Right. But next.
Like,
when is the next stuff happening?
We said this about the last time. Like, nobody really cares about you guys. Like, this is all you can fully tell. It's like an egomaniac perspective on, like, I was waiting my entire life for this moment. I'm going to have this moment, even if I only get to have this moment for 18 months before it goes to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll be impressed if he stays king for 4 or 5 years. He should have just abdicated. Whatever.
I know. And then there's also one TikTok that I laughed about because he was Prince King George was pointing over and he's like, oh, look at that. Those are my paintings. And Camilla's like, yeah. It looked like two grandparents at a concert they didn't belong at.
It just
so awkward.
And with the brother that was with
I know they all
Andrew,
need to
Prince
go.
Andrew, like
so
it's all
gross.
the same generation. Like, can we just? You should have just.
This one didn't work out. Next.
Should have just skipped it.
I agree.
I do just have to say that apparently it came out that everybody was wrong. It is not Taylor Swift's memoir, and I'm really sad.
Are you?
Yeah,
Friday you need a memoir.
Friday came out and said they're for certain, and it's not hers. I'm like, oh.
Because we had
because
talked about
she's
that.
somebody that I bet would not have a ghostwriter, and she would write the damn book herself.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's
she will eventually. She's got plenty of time for that.
As we segue into content, I just had to say that.
I was so excited. Beatle Juice was one of my favorite movies. It was the first movie my mother ever let us watch on pay-per-view.
Really?
And it was like, oh my God, we don't have to have the DVR. We don't have to go to the movie theater.
That's awesome.
It was the first movie I ever got to watch on pay-per-view. And I don't know why. It was just so freaking exciting that I loved it. And it has become just a cult following throughout my entire family. We absolutely love the movie. So I cannot believe when I saw the news that they have, gotten Michael Keaton to sign on.
That's my favorite part. Like, we're doing another Tim Burton version. We're doing Michael Keaton coming back. Just like, it's not that important of a movie to me in particular out of all the Tim Burton movies, but I love Tim Burton so much that I'm so on board.
Yeah.
I do think, though, the addition of the Jenny Ortega piece to it, I think, is super interesting.
I love it.
So
she's that genre's it girl right now.
Yes.
Winona Ryder was that genre's it girl at the time.
And then also, what's the name of I gotta look it up. What's the name of the actress that does Bellatrix Lestrange? She's in all the Tim Burton stuff too.
The mother? Oh, you're talking about who's on tap for being in the new one.
I'm just saying that he does this where he picks like these very particular kind of women. What's her name? Helena Bonham.
Oh, Helena Bonham.
Thank you.
He always has her.
But that's my point. He picks.
They were married.
Well, my point is that like he picks these like very particular kinds of women that all are kind of in the same energy vein, and he like zeroes in on them and puts them in everything. And you can tell Jenny Ortega is like completely that vibe. She's like the new version of that.
Yeah,
so it was Winona Ryder, then it was her, then now it's Jenny Ortega, which I just think like I get it. It's very like in your artistic vein, but it's super interesting to me that he like zeroes in on them and then puts them in everything.
Yeah, it's the way he works.
Well, that was my commentary. Like, I'm not shocked that Jenny Ortega's in it.
No, it totally fits.
Yeah, it's very his style. It just seems to me that he's kind of making the same energy movie with the same people of the same energy. Like, I love him. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's one of my favorite directors, creators, the whole thing. But I'm just saying everything he does is kind of in the same vein. Mm-hmm. And he picks the same people to do the same movies, regardless of the fact that it's a different plot line, a different story. Because they're all the same vein, he picks like the same actresses to do the same vein.
In. I like it. I'm happy.
And the same thing with, Johnny Depp. Like, how many different versions of stuff is he going to? Michael Keaton's another one. Like, how many different versions? Because he was also in Tim Burton's Batman. Yeah. Michael Keaton, who's one of my favorite Batmans by far.
Yeah, he works with, he's very particular about who he works with. But he's a weirdo, and he needs to know that his actors are going to do the things that he wants them to do. He very much does this on purpose.
And he does that with
a comfortability factor.
I think he does it with artists, and I'm not really well versed in who he picks for things like costumes and set work, but like he did a lot of the composers.
It's his brand.
All of the music is Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
So who unbelievable. So it's just interesting. It's kind of like, all right, team.
Assemble.
Let's go.
I've got a new storyline for us.
I got a new plot.
Same shit, different day. Let's do this. It's going to be Tim Burtonized.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would love to see him do something new, though. I do feel like Tim Burton has done a lot of the same. Like, he's remade a lot of the same stories.
Yeah.
And they've all been incredible, but he has remade a lot of the same stories in his own stylized way. I would love to see him do something.
It's like a person that does covers of other people's work. It's fine.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all these were Tim Burton, Mad Hatter, the Alice in Wonderland.
Yep. Willy Wonka.
Mm-hmm. Right? Those are all stories that have already been done. He just did them in a much cooler, creepier way.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice 2.
Well,
Batman was done again. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of like, I would love to see you dive into like a completely new story, completely new set of creepy characters, as opposed to kind of do something that's already been written. Just because his brain is so insane.
Well, he did Beatle Juice 1, and that was original. That's where it all
Well,
started
right,
from.
but
So this might be his last thing. This might be his swan song.
Edward Scissorhands too was not an original story. That was right?
It was another story,
It
but
was a play. I think
yeah.
it was a play that was made into. Really, what he should do is Rocky Horror Picture Story. He should do in a movie, right? Isn't
You
that what
heard
it's
us, Tim Burton. I know you're out there listening.
called? Listen, do that one. You should do that one and make it a really good movie. And then besides that, do something new.
Well, on the same note, you got Mamma Mia 3 out there, who apparently
I'm so excited.
Meryl Streep said with the right script, they're looking at it
But
right
like, how
now.
much of the movie can she be in? Because she was dead before the second one.
I don't know. But she said with the right
It
script.
just makes me want to watch all those movies again. I had like an ABBA disco morning the other day at work, and I was running around the store and dancing.
I love the fact that this
mood.
band's never toured because they had stage fright and has become just such a
cult.
juggernaut
A cult.
of more than multiple generations.
Yeah.
Multiple generations.
Money, Gimme More is like probably one of my favorite jams.
I watched where are they from?
I don't know.
ABBA. While I looked that up, I had watched a documentary. Are they Swedish? Are they Finnish?
I don't know, but when I was in Ireland a couple years ago, there happened to be, I didn't know this, the holiday, there's a big holiday after all the holidays are over, and it's to celebrate all of the women and the moms that put all the holidays together.
Yep.
For their families, and then they get to like have a night off. And so I was in Kinsale, and the hotel was like, "Oh, it's women's night." And we were like, "I don't know what that means." They were like, "Well, there's an ABBA cover band." We walked in, the entire place was packed with like middle-aged and young, like a completely great demographic, every age of women. Everybody's in like cool disco outfits, and they're all partying to an ABBA cover band. And I looked at my boyfriend at the time and I was like, why didn't we party with them? Like, I don't care. Like, this looked way more fun than doing a pub for like the 8th night in a row. But we met them afterwards and we drank a ton of lobby. It was really fun.
That sounds awesome.
It was awesome. So now whenever I think of ABBA, I think of that, like just hanging and drinking, at like 2 a.m. with all of these like middle-aged women in their disco outfits in Ireland. I was like, this is my life.
All right. I love it. Well, that's it. It was like a worldwide phenomenon that happened for 40 years. It's great. Also,
lay all your love on me.
We're rolling into our content recommendations, and it's a documentary about Swedish songwriters. It's called the Stockholm Syndrome.
Do we know if ABBA was?
They're Swedish.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, they're in it?
No, I actually saw it. That's what sparked this whole. It's a pop documentary on why Swedish songwriters still kill, and it's part of their culture. It's cool. Part of how they've done Roxette, Ace of Base, Robin, Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC.
Britney Spears?
All their songs were written by Swedish people.
Oh, cool! You say Backstreet Boys?
Yeah, all of them.
It's interesting because they all have such long lives.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your point.
But that's it. That's what they're saying. They're calling it the Swedish phenomenon.
Yeah.
Because it's a simple reason of what happened in Sweden. And it's the way they live their life. It's part of the fiber of what they do, that they're able to write these songs that are so what we see as transcendental, but to them, it's just like, this is our easy living. This is so relatable.
Yeah, that's
why
cool.
They're so relatable to us, because they have the time to actually enjoy their life. So I definitely suggest that you watch it because it's really good. Stockholm Syndrome.
Did you say Backstreet Boys? I was just telling somebody the other day that I happen to know all of the music video and the stage choreography to that song. To Backstreet Boys, Bye Bye Bye. I know all the I could do it for you. I won't, but I can. If you give me enough drinks in a bar and then it goes on, I will do it.
A live episode in a bar with Tori.
I've done it. It's like a party trick.
I'm in. I'm in for it.
Also, oops, I did it again. I know that one too. Anyway.
Do you got any content recommendations?
Yeah, I sat in bed this week on Tuesday and I watched the entire season of Queen Charlotte Bridgerton.
Oh, and
like back to back. So
I saw it. I'm leaving it there. I'm letting it marinate. Is it worth my time?
So it's really interesting to me. They had a disclaimer at the beginning that said like, this is fiction, which makes sense because it is about the King and Queen of England.
Did you read the book?
They're fake. I didn't. So go back. This is why this is interesting. The series original, the first 2 seasons are based on a series of books. They're pretty, like, I would consider them, it's smut. It's like erotic novels with a time period-y flair. But they're not historical fiction in any capacity. But they're so good at the creating, and the show is too, creating that cultural sense where it feels like it's historical fiction. They're really good at blurring those lines, but it's not remotely historical. Like it's really just fiction. But it's time period fiction. But so in the first season, one of the call-outs was that they created some racial changes in the series. You had which they built into the story a little bit more than they did
diversity.
Correct, which was great. So they addressed it by creating this new season, Queen Charlotte, how the queen got into her marriage, and so the entire season is really about the conversations, the racial conversations about what it was like in this fictional capacity for her as a Black woman to come into this very white monarchy, and what it did for the community, the Black community at that time. Now, mind you, it is like completely fiction, but it was a really cool narrative and a fictional piece about what this is like. I thought they did it really, really well by allowing us to have like this time period fantasy-esque while still having kind of like a modern racial conversation. I thought was really great. It was not an original story in the series.
Okay.
But the writer wrote it and released the book at the same time
that's smart.
the series
was
released on.
Good for you.
So I thought it was really interesting that it was like not a portion of the books, but then they wrote it into this series and they built it into part of the brand. And then the series itself did a really, really good job of creating this conversation about race.
Yeah.
And actually then it goes into some conversations about mental health as well, and dealing with mental health. But, not as good, I think, as they did with the racial conversations. But
I like that we're using the culture and the pop and the popularity to have these comfortable, uncomfortable conversations.
Correct. But
also in the world that you've already built. So that's kind of cool.
But it was definitely something to note where they have to tell you that they have to tell you that it's fiction, because like a dumb person would just like it would be easy if you don't understand that to look at the time period of the piece and say, oh, this really happened. Like, nope, literally not remotely. Completely fiction. But anyway, I thought it was really great, actually.
I like
it was
that.
less tense, and it had less of that, like, I call it like a drip, like that sexual tension drip through like the whole series. It had less of that, unfortunately, which I think is kind of what people go to
That's
Bridgerton
why I like
for.
that. Yeah.
But I think it's really because they were zeroing in on like what those conversations are.
Okay.
And I don't think it means we're not going to get another season 3 or season whatever now 4 of like the next kid.
They're doing it kind of like Yellowstone, which is like the pre-story, the other story, this story, the origin story.
I think so, because the series of the books goes through like each relationship of the children of Bridgerton, each of them. So I would assume that they'll do until the audience runs out of steam. I would assume that they'll keep going through the kids.
I like that. I am recommending also Fatal Attraction. We had talked about it. Joshua Jackson is phenomenal. I'm obsessed with Lizzie Kaplan. I think everything that she does, I'm obsessed with her. Yeah. I don't know what it is about her, but I love their energy, their sexual chemistry, their everything. It's like 4 episodes in right now. She's a real good psycho, and it's really, really good to watch.
All right, I love that. Well, that's it. I think it's everything we've gotten to Friday. I think we touched on all of it.
Get perky with us Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, The First Shot Morning Show. Have a wonderful weekend.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah. Happy Mother's Day. We'll see you Monday.
Only to the good moms, though. Bye.
Yeah, damn right.
The First Shot Morning Show is produced by Lemonadio. When life gives you lemons, make radio. We encourage everyone to listen happier.com.